Postseason Toro Talk, really more of an off-season Toro Talk here. We're visiting with head coach Nick Bruneteau from the Mason City Toros. We're going to try to do one of these every so often, maybe about every month or so during the off-season, since we'll do it remotely, since Nick and the coaches probably won't be in a ton during the off-season in person. But Nick Bruneteau is with us here. Nick, how are you and the coaches doing here during the off-season?
We're doing good. Obviously there's no real break, so we're kind of hammering into the off-season mode, and a big part of that was our draft and tenders, and now we're kind of onto the camp part of it.
We got a little bit to cover here with the NA3HL Draft last week, and now the awards have come out this week. Carter Newpower, a lot of our fans have heard by now, is League's Forward of the Year, MVP, the third time that an NA3HL player in Mason City with Bulls or the Toros has been an MVP. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But the NA3HL Draft was last week. You got 8 picks in that one. Did you get the guys you had your eye on trying to bring in into Mason City for next year?
Definitely. Majority of the guys we had on our board who we had rated as high-end players, we ended up getting, and that was obviously the first draft for myself and Marquise. So that was interesting. I thought it went pretty smooth. Neither one of us had much experience outside of fantasy football, so we entered with a little bit, but I thought it went great. We really like the guys we got. We view them all as high-end players. We're not going to be shocked in the least if all of them make North American Hockey League teams. We think highly of all of them. So, and if that doesn't work, we think we're going to be such a good spot for them to develop and get to where they want to go.
What was the biggest need for the team going into the draft, or something really kind of overall that you wanted to take care of? I think 4 of the first 5 picks this year for you guys were defensemen.
Yeah. And I think part of that too is like you look at what we could return, but we project some of those guys to advance to the North American Hockey League, and we definitely have some good pieces to start with, but I think the back end's so important. I'm a little biased as being a defenseman, but I really view that can dictate how your season goes. So there was definitely a point of that in the draft, and then. You look at late in the draft, I thought we needed to get tougher. I thought we needed to get more physical, and we took Sawyer Bolton, and he's a guy that is getting USHL looks and North American League looks. So he's another one of those guys where we're not sure if, he will get him, but if we do, he'll be a hell of a player for us, and he'll be a guy that'd be a fan favorite here.
And we talk about the defensemen, especially this past year, where it was a position group that started out a little bit lean, but really filled its way in well as the season kind of got going.
Definitely. I mean, Sloth was kind of the rock the whole year, and Stoddicker was right there with him. But, you look throughout the course of the year, we added Colin Hedlund, Matt Kochanowski, and Luke Stevens, and to go with guys like Easton Talk, Ralston, we really, and Eric Larson, we felt like we had a really good group, and honestly that made me and Marquise's job really difficult down the stretch, because you can only play 6 or 7, and we had 8 good ones.
Very heavy this year all around on North American Prospects Hockey League talent. How heavy was the Toros draft board on NAPHL players?
It was big. Obviously we've that's something that Todd, me, and Marquise have watched throughout the course of the year, and with the relationship with the league, it's always important. So you have certain relationships with certain teams, whether that's, Todd with a lot of the Minnesota schools, or me with Shattuck, or Keese, with the DC area. So we all kind of have our specific areas, but that league does a great job of pumping out players. And it's such a good resource for our team, and really for the league.
And it was kind of a light draft across the board, and I think it usually is as far as goaltending goes. What does that position group look like really, really early on that you're hoping to have to fill in a little bit? You got Owen Carlson, who aged out of junior hockey, but you got Eric Chafe, who's got a couple of years left. But I know you're hoping to see what he can do at the higher levels too, if you don't get a chance to get him back in Mason City.
Yeah, the goaltending position is so difficult, because there's 2 spots a team, and there's so many good goaltenders, and the parity is crazy tight. So that's something for us. We look, we lost OC, and he was a great goalie for us the whole year, and it'd be hard to replace. And then you look at a guy like Eric Chafe, who, we think he could make a North American League team. He could make our North American League team. I think he's a very, very good goalie, and I would honestly think more so that than him coming back. So that's something we had to plan for. We ended up having a couple tender goalies. We did not decide to target one in the draft. And so I think we're in a good spot, but there's so much shuffling between leagues, between teams, and it's a long ways ahead. But where we're at right now, we're really happy with where we are.
And I think there were only 6, 7, maybe 8 goaltenders that were picked in the entire draft. So it's usually a pretty light position in the draft, and it was again this season. Heavy on scoring from Carter Newpower this year. We got the word yesterday that Carter was named the league MVP, 91 points this year, and found out on Tuesday that Brendan Sloth was on the all-division team as a defenseman. First of all, I mean, let's talk about Carter, the season that he had this season, 91 points. I don't get a sense of a lot of surprise from you that that MVP award with that kind of total in the West went home to Carter this season.
Not one bit. I honestly would have been shocked if it ended up anywhere else but with him. So he had a hell of a season. And the thing that I don't think it's talked enough about when you have these big numbers, whether it's him or Sloth, is their leadership was so great for us this year. From the start to the end, and anytime you have a new coach and you have returning players, there can always be room for improvement, but there's also a lot of roadblocks and hiccups in the way, just trying to build that rapport. And I thought those two did such a tremendous job. One, getting everybody to buy in, getting everybody to be great teammates and have good energy throughout the course of the year. And then when you add the points and the play on the ice, it's even more insane. So, Noops, I don't see somebody, replicating what he did this year, especially in the West Division, like you said, where you're playing against guys that, have plenty of North American League experience, and a lot of them will be there the following season. So, and I don't think that's necessarily the case in some of the other divisions. There's great players, but I think our depth is at a higher level. So when you see a guy lead the league in that top division, it's a big deal. And I know the coaches in our division kind of joke about it, but in football terms, we think we're kind of the SEC. Like I think anybody in our division could beat any team from any other division, and I think we kind of beat up on each other. But it's good. It's what you want. To kind of elevate your game as well. So we think Noops is going to have a great year next year in the North American League. I think, the thing with him, the scoring touches and the brain speed, that's not stuff you can teach, and the understanding of spacing and time. So, a guy like that, like, you're always curious to see how he does at the next level. I think he'll translate completely fine. I think the only thing he needs to improve is getting a little stronger, and we know he can do that. So I think that's something that'll be really cool for the fans in Mason City to see really, I know Campion did it, but see that first full year jump, a guy who played a full year. Now he gets to play another full year on the North American League team. I think that will be exciting for fans, exciting for his family. And honestly, for me and Marquise as well, we're really excited to see what's ahead for him.
I was going to say the jump, whether it's in the front office, the coaching staff, the players, the jump from the NA3 to the North American Hockey League, it's only one step. It's a really big step. But I think if there's one player in the league who can make that jump and thrive at the NAHL level, it's got to be Carter.
Definitely, without a doubt. And you've seen guys have success before, especially coming from North Iowa, Campbell Sykos, Carson Jones. So it's been proven, Lucas Wallen, that you can do it. So that's the other thing is, I think now that, early on, maybe there'd be more skeptics, but I think you're seeing a lot more people buy into that, that, hey, you know what, this league's a great league and guys can have success coming up.
You kind of touched on it earlier, but the 91 points this season for a guy who's didn't just, he was stacking points up against Wilmer and Granite City, in addition to Alexandria, New Ulm, and the Loons at the bottom half of the standings. What were the factors? What were the attributes that got him to such a total this season and eventually to that MVP?
Well, I think he'd be the first to tell you that his line mates and their chemistry really, really helped. I think that line was And obviously Campion, Olvey, and Humphreys had time playing with Soda and Noops throughout the course of the year, but their chemistry was unmatched. And I think that helped. And then to go back to the brain speed thing, that's so critical, especially to have that goal scorer's touch to go with it. It just doubles your opportunities when you're a smart player like Carter Newpower. And we saw that at full force this year. And the thing too is he showed up in the big games. And I think at times you look around the league and you see some of these guys with big numbers, and then you go through the box scores and you see they had 7 points against one of the bottom teams in the league. That wasn't the case. We played Granite City, we played Wilmer. He was scoring, and he was was clicking at the same rate, 2-3 points every game. So big credit for him. I don't think there was anything else he could have done this year, to be honest with you. That's how good he was.
Highest scoring total for any Bulls or Toros player in the NA3HL in I think 6 years, since Brett Gravel had that 99-point season. But not only that, he moved into the top 10 in the team's all-time scoring list, and the number 8 scoring defenseman in Bulls and Toros NA3HL history now is Brendan Sloth, and he had a fantastic season this year and got himself a very well-deserved spot on the all-division team as a defenseman.
Yeah, definitely. He's so composed back there. And the thing that I like about him is he's a complete player. Like, you can play him in every situation. Power play, he's going out there. Penalty kill, he's going out there. And that honestly gives, as coaches, it gives you a lot of peace of mind, knowing that, there's a guy you can throw out whenever you want and you're going to have success with it. And I think the other big thing with him is you look at the jump he made with points. You look at it and it's actually insane what he did this season. And I think that just kind of showed like he was ready, but he thrived in that role. So, moving forward, he's a guy, and I think that's something that he'll be able to utilize in college is he can play every spot. So, if a team looks at him and says, hey, we value you as a penalty killer, he's going to go do that and have success. And if they say, hey, we want you to be our power play guy, he'll do great doing that too. So we know he's a kid who's got a lot ahead of him, but another guy that just had a hell of a season. And as coaches, he made me and Marquise look good. He made our jobs easy. And to go back to the leadership thing, a classy kid and somebody that me and Marquise we think very, very highly of.
And he's one of those guys that I'm sure will have that commitment announced before very long. Derek Humphreys was the first one to go this season, but Owen Carlson, Brendan Sloth, there are a ton of other O1s on this team that they haven't announced yet. They haven't officially made that commitment yet, but I don't think it's very far away.
No, definitely not. And the thing too is because of COVID, because of the transfer portal, it's kind of log jammed some of the college commitments and the movement. And it's especially guys in the NA3, I think they've had to stay a lot more patient than in years past. But we believe they're all, college hockey players, and we're excited to see them down the road.
Well, now as we move into the month of May, we start talking about, and I'm not sure exactly when we'll visit with you again, probably sometime right around the pre-draft camps for the North American Hockey League, one up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Plymouth, Michigan, near Plymouth, and one in Hudson, Wisconsin, right around the end of May, beginning of June. What does the next month hold for you? I know you'll be at least somewhat involved in those, and you're still building the NA3 team for next year too.
Yeah, a lot of scouting. That's probably the biggest thing. A lot of film review, going to certain events, and then when I can, I'm trying to get back home and see family. So that's where I am right now. I'm in Omaha with my parents and one of my brothers. So kind of get a little bit of a chance to unwind. But in hockey, there's no true off season, so that's what makes it exciting. So that's kind of now the focus is getting the team ready to go for next year and getting the right pieces in place.
It's our off-season Toro Talk, a remote Toro Talk with head coach Nick Bruneteau from the Mason City Toros. Nick, appreciate the time. Good draft, a good season with Carter Newpower and Brendan Sloth, and I'm sure a lot of good to come here in the month of May.
Thanks, Austin. I appreciate it.